mode.
Hello, this is Brett Lonsdale from Lightning Tools, and welcome to another webinar. This time it's on one of our products. It's actually been a product for quite some time, but it's under a new platform, if you like. So we've rebuilt Social Squared, which has been available for SharePoint 2007 and upwards on SharePoint on premises, but we've also had it available as a SharePoint add-in for a number of years, and recently we've recreated it for SharePoint Online Modern under the SharePoint framework, and also within the last few days we've released it for Microsoft Teams as well. So if you're a user of Microsoft Teams, you'll be able to use the product within inside your Teams tab. And there's also a brand new Social Squared phone app as well available for the iOS, Apple iPhone, and also for Android devices as well. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today is basically Social Squared and how that can be used inside your organization. So for those of you who are fairly new to Lightning Tools, just a quick introduction as to who we are, what we do, and then we'll jump straight into the demonstration. So Lightning Tools, I founded around about 2007. We're a company based in the UK. We have US offices as well, and we provide different products that filled gaps within inside Microsoft SharePoint on-prem and also Microsoft SharePoint Online. All of our products are available for both platforms. That's SharePoint 2019 as well as SharePoint Online. And what we cover is a number of different tools, mostly around areas such as permissions management. So we provide a product that enables you to get a better handle on who's got permissions to your content, and also to be able to manage those permissions within bulk. And that's a tool that's designed for both site owners, site collection admins, as well as IT as well, if you're centrally managing permissions. We've also got content aggregation. So that's again another one of our products that's just been released under the SharePoint framework and also for Microsoft Teams. So you can aggregate SharePoint lists, you can aggregate from Microsoft Graph now, and basically build a visual report with conditional formatting and things like that to really make that data stand out. Of course, we've got the discussion forums, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We have a list forms editor as well. So that works with SharePoint list forms, such as the new form and the edit form and display form. So you can customize those forms and add your own logic to the forms if you like. And we've also got a number of different data integration and data visualization tools. So BCS Madman, which is our very first tool, still relevant to today's technology. We've also got charting, both for SharePoint on-prem and also through our data viewer now, which is also a SharePoint framework tool for SharePoint Online and Microsoft Teams. So that's basically what we do. So a number of different products. And as I mentioned, we were founded back in 2007 with UK, US offices. We're a Microsoft Gold partner as well. And all of our products are certified for code quality. So we don't just deliver a number of different features for you. We ensure that the product is of quality up to ISO standards, so that you can safely be assured that we're not going to cause memory leaks or anything like that inside your SharePoint environments. So that's basically who we are. What we're going to talk about today, obviously, is Social Squared, as I mentioned. And what Social Squared is ultimately it's a discussion forum tool. And I'm sure everybody has searched for something on the internet at some point and ended up inside a discussion forum of sorts. So it might be a discussion forum that's very technical based. So I'm sure everybody here is using SharePoint, otherwise you probably wouldn't have heard of this webinar. But if you search on a particular error message, or you search on how do I type question, usually you're going to end up inside a forum somewhere where somebody else has had a similar question and other people have answered it, and those people are generally other people like you and I. They're also users of SharePoint. They just happen to have experienced the error that you're searching for sooner than you did. They figured it out and they went and posted the answer. And that is really, really valuable, because Microsoft doesn't have the time to obviously document every single possible error message and workaround, although they do a great job of that. It does rely on the community effort as well. And that's something that we can provide with inside your organization. So people inside your company quite often have questions. And those questions are questions that other people inside your company have also wanted to ask before as well. And usually what happens is those same questions get asked time and time again. And instead of having a central platform like discussion forums on the internet, we generally just find that we're going to revert to email, and we're just going to email the person that we think is the right person. We're going to interrupt their day. We're going to stop their concentration, and they're going to reply to us with the answer. And the only person that benefits is the person that asked the question. That email doesn't get shared among the entire organization or to potentially other people that may have that same question. So Social Squared can be used for support-based sort of scenarios or just general discussion, and ultimately through ideas that are posted and things like that, you're building up a knowledge base that can be searched easily like you would do using the internet. So just like on the internet, it might not just be technical either. It might be that you've got a problem with your car. So if you've got a problem with your car, maybe the handbrake sticking or whatever it might be, you do a search and you probably find somebody else that's got the same car as you. They've experienced the same issue and they can tell you exactly how to resolve that problem. So that's the type of thing that we can build using Social Squared. And when we take a look at the different features of Social Squared, it may sound like it's very, very similar to Yammer, or it's very similar to the chat that you have inside Microsoft Teams, but the underlying difference is that this is a discussion forum. Yes, it shares a lot of the features, such as the ability to post, reply to posts, you can like, you can rate, so on and so forth, but the structure is what makes it unique. With things like Yammer and chat, they're great for conversations, especially when you've got remote workers that are working from home or out on business travel. It allows them to still be able to chat with their team members no matter where they are. But this is more structured into a specific forum, so you would go to the most relevant forum based on the type of question that you want to ask or the type of question that you want to discover the answer to. So if we take that car forum scenario, you may go into maybe a BMW forum or a Ford forum or something like that, and obviously you're going to navigate down through the model of vehicle. It's not just going to be one forum for every single Ford that was ever made. So you might go to the Ford F-150 forum or something like that, and drill into another level, which might be mechanical, or it might be accessories or something like this, and then you can go through and ask your question in the relevant place. So that's what we can do here with Social Squared. So it provides structure. It's also customizable, so you can make it suit your exact look and feel, and yeah, you can benefit others through marking things as answered. So if you've got subject matter experts, maybe we've got a really good mechanic on that Ford forum, so he's going to validate that, yeah, the answer that was provided is the correct one, and that helps other people as well, because you could ask a question and get 50 different answers, and then you're trying to determine, well, actually, which is the right answer, which one am I going to try out? So if a subject matter expert or the original poster has said, yes, somebody gave me this response and it worked, then we can mark that as answered and benefit other people that come and read that content in SharePoint. So you've also got things like rating and votes, likes and things like that, as you would imagine. We also have this mark as featured option, so you can go through, and if somebody's replied to you, you want to highlight it to other users, you can mark it as featured as well. And Social Squared ultimately is therefore going to improve communication. It's going to improve knowledge, and somewhat it's going to improve the adoption as well of SharePoint and Teams. It's another piece of functionality that you can use inside those two different platforms. Okay, so we have Social Squared for SharePoint. So we're going to have a look at that first of all, and this is inside a modern site. We don't just cater for SharePoint modern site users. You can actually add an SPFx client-side web part to classic sites as well. Or if you're using SharePoint on premises, you haven't yet moved across to SharePoint Online, we also have a full trust version of Social Squared as well that you can deploy to SharePoint on premises, and that shares the same features that you're going to see today, or if you happen to use SharePoint 2016 or 2019 and you've got the app catalog installed, and you've also got the latest Feature Pack 2 for SharePoint 2016, you'll also be able to use the SPFx version there as well. So you would still be able to use the client-side web part. So we'll take a look at Social Squared in SharePoint, and then we're going to jump across to Microsoft Teams and have a look at it there as well. So I'll just step into my SharePoint environment here. So what you'll see on the page is basically I am in a SharePoint team site. It's a modern team site. It's a human resources team site. And what I'm going to do is just follow this link here to HR discussions. So I could go through and add the Social Squared web part on any web part page. It's basically a client-side web part, so really simple to add. And I'll show you that, adding it from scratch in just a moment, so you'll be able to see how it's added onto the page. But what you'll see here is I've got a forum web part onto the page here, and I've got it already defined with multiple forum groups. So within human resources, what I've got here is a benefits forum group that we can use, and that benefits forum group is made up of different forums. So medical, pensions, childcare, wellness programs are all individual forums. So if we wanted to post something about pensions or ask a question about pensions inside our organization, then I could go to obviously the pension forum. It's not taking me too long to figure out where I need to go in order to ask that question or look at other questions that other people have asked. We've also got skills and training, which is a forum group, and a couple of forums there, so around employee development meetings, training classes and things like that. So again, you can go through and ask questions related to those subjects. And then we've also got one on diversity as well. So it's really simple to create these forum groups, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. But let's first of all just have a look at some of the end user features. So if we maybe did want to go in and look at something that was a medical benefit, so obviously under the benefits forum group, we go to the medical forum. I can see what the latest post was and who made that post. And we can also see how many topics are in there as well. So in order to go into that forum, I just simply need to click it. Note there is no page refresh or anything like that takes place. And in here, I can see that there's 3 topics that people have created. So there's one on welfare, there's one on eye care, and there's also one on employee choice and flexibility. So we can go in and obviously read those. So if we just simply jump into one of them here, we can read the topic and the information that we have on the page. I can see who created it, when did they create it, and also the fact that this user has earned 2 badges. And those badges are basically awarded based on the number of posts that you create, or the number of replies that you do, or if you mark things as answered, or anything like that's actually using Social Squared, that you're being a good citizen as far as giving community feedback, then you start to be awarded badges for that effort. And you can go through and define what those thresholds are for your organization as to when those badges will be awarded. So we've got that information there. We can also see the body of the actual post. So this is actually regarding a dental plan for employees. I can see there's certain tag keywords as well. So we've got dental plan, medical benefits that this has been tagged with. And you'll notice at the bottom here are some of the different options that are available to me. So I can simply reply to this post. I could mark it as answered as well. The reason why I can mark it as answered is because I'm actually logged in as the person who created it. So if somebody provides me a reply to this post and it's the most appropriate reply, I could go through and mark that as answered, and likewise with featured as well. And I can also edit the post because I created that post too. So a lot of these are not available if you're just a typical user and you're reading somebody else's post. There's also a number of different options along the top here. So again, as the original poster, I could delete the topic. I can make it sticky, and for that I need to actually be a site owner. So I can make that sticky, which means it's going to reside at the top of the forum. So in fact, let's go and click that, and you'll see in a moment that is made sticky. I can also lock it as well. So sometimes I create a post and it's just for information. I don't want anybody to reply to it. So I can actually lock that, and as soon as I lock it, then that's it. My reply option has gone away. Nobody can actually respond to this post anymore. And obviously I could unlock that as well if I'm the owner of the site. There are no replies to show this next option yet. So I have the option of showing a threaded view. So that's going to show indentation between each response. So it's very much like a sort of Facebook type thread. So you can see replies to replies and so on quite clearly. We can show and hide those posts that are marked as featured. We can show the answers, so the ones that are marked as answered, and we can also subscribe as well to this particular post. And you can subscribe to a post, or you can subscribe to a forum, or even a forum group. And what that's going to do is anytime if I subscribe to the post, then anybody replying to this post, it's going to notify me. And likewise, obviously, if I subscribe to the forum, anybody that creates a post in that forum is going to notify me of that as well. So we're getting feedback as well, which is really useful. And besides that, we've got several different ways of providing feedback. So we have ratings, so you can go through and rate posts, you can like posts, and we can also vote up and vote down posts as well. So if I just jump back to medical at the moment, let's just jump into this first one here, welfare. You see that there is a reply to this one, and I'll show you how we can actually reply to that. So if I just hit reply on there, then we get this, obviously it's the same subject, but we also get this rich text editor where I can go through and provide my reply. And we'll just put a little message in there, and you can see in here we've got like I say, paragraph formatting and things like that. We can change the font alignment, font size, all of the things you would expect from a rich text editor. And we've also got things like highlighting, which we can perform. So we can choose the highlighting color that we want to use, and you can insert images and things like that inside the post, as well as motion icons and videos that you can inject and what have you. So replying to that is really straightforward from an end user point of view. So you can see the reply here. And let's go through and mark this as answered. So you can see here the feedback that we're giving to anybody reading this. This is the one that's marked as answered. Let's go ahead and make it featured as well. So you can see the gold star appearing there to say it's a featured post. And when we're at the top, imagine we have 400 or 500 replies maybe. Now I can jump straight to those posts that are answered, or those that are marked as featured. And obviously we can toggle that to put it back to how it was as well. Okay, so that's how we can go through and basically read posts and so on. If we wanted to create one, it's just as simple, obviously. So we can go back into that medical forum, we can add a new topic, and in here we can go through and provide a subject. So we'll call this just care plan, and we'll write a simple little message in here, and then we can go through and tag it. So tagging, just like you would do with hashtags, you can basically tag it with any keywords that you like here, and that will create the tag cloud for me. And click on to add, and that's our post generated and created for the people to come through and comment on. So as far as the tag cloud works, so you'll notice here on the left hand side we can jump straight to that tag cloud. So this is built up all the different keywords that people have used, and in a typical tag cloud format we've got the words that are used quite heavily. They become bolder and bigger and so on, whereas some of these are used just rarely. So if we click onto something like 401k, so if I was interested in that, click onto 401k, it will take me to any post that has that tag associated with it. So really quick and easy to navigate some of that content. So you can use the tag cloud to find content. You can also navigate to the right content, and you can search. So if we just put 401k in the search bar there, then that will also jump to any posts that are referencing 401k as well. We can display more results, less results, and we can also give it the date range or who created the post and things like that if we know that information to limit the number of results that we're seeing. Okay, so that's the search option as well. You also have the integration with standard SharePoint search. So it's not just searching within Social Squared. If we wanted to search SharePoint for 401k, that's also going to return these results as well to your users. We've also got the most active users, so we can see that sort of information and access those user profiles. I can see which of the most popular topics. So in here is the topics that are like I say, recent, and we've also got here the recent activities and also the popular topics, so we can go through and see those, which ones have got the most views, the most replies, and that sort of thing as well. So that's generally how to use the product. In order to configure it, we can access the settings through the forum from here. So we can go through, and these are, if you like, sort of power user settings. So I can easily define new forum groups. So currently we've got the benefits, the skills and training and diversity. We could go through and add another one called culture if we wanted to start discussing culture within inside the human resources team site. So that's created the new forum group for me. We can obviously edit the properties for that, which controls the order and the description and so on. And I can view the forums and add forums into that forum group. So we could put in here improving culture as a title, and we'll just have that also as a description as well. So it's taken the last thing on my clipboard. Let's put improving culture description. So that gives me my my new forum, and again we can go through and just change the order of that forum, change the title and the description at any time. So inside the web part, there it is. There's a new forum group, and there's the forum. And obviously you would need to be a site owner in order to be able to go through and add those forum groups and those forums into that Social Squared instance. So that's how we can go through and create those. Now, as far as look and feel is concerned, we basically pick up the look and feel from the theme. So we've got this gray theme set at the moment, and what I can do is just go through to change the look. And in here, we've got different themes available. If you're using modern SharePoint, then you'll be familiar with these. So if we wanted to go to the blue, which is my favorite, we can hit save on that one, and you can already see how Social Squared has adopted those styles and that color into that site as well. And that carries on through to Microsoft Teams as well, which you'll see shortly. Okay, so that's basically the theme. Now what I'm going to do here is edit the page, and inside the web part properties, if we click onto edit web part, we can also refine a few more things as well. So first of all, we've got the title. So the default title is actually Social Squared, but that obviously doesn't mean a lot to users. That's the brand name for our product. So you can name it Human Resource Discussions or whatever you want to do so that it has that name inside your site. We can also go through and customize things like the type of rich text editor that you've got. So there's a classic one, there's inline, there's balloon, and so on. So yeah, we saw the classic a minute ago. If we switch to balloon here, and again, I was to go in and add a new topic, that rich text editor in this case is non-existent. There we go. Maybe I need some text or something, but okay, that seems to have switched that one off for some reason. Let's just try that one more time. So I'll give it a go on the inline. Balloon popped. There we go. So we've now got an inline editor that appears as we click into the message box. So there's things like that that we can refine through the web part properties here. You can also refine the pagination, so the number of popular topics, number of recent activities, the number of users that you want to measure for the most active users. You can also make attachments as well to a post. So if you don't want to, if you want to force people to use things like the document libraries for storing documents rather than attaching to a post, then you can use that. If you are using attachments, then you can actually limit what type of files can be attached and also put a file size limit on there as well. And everything is basically customizable here. So you've got things like the tags you can turn off if you don't want to use those, badges you can turn on or off, and you can also specify the thresholds of when these badges get rewarded. So I've got the first badge being rewarded for just one post. You get the second badge for 2 posts, just for demo purposes, but then we can be awarded 3 badges based on 10 posts, and 50 would get us 4 badges, and so on. So you can basically define that how you want. Now, as far as the mobile phone app is, basically there's an application ID which basically links it through to the phone app, and that's all sort of covered in our documentation. So that's what that field is there for. And you can also control obviously the web part height and things like that as well. So that's basically social squared within inside a SharePoint team site. And if we were to go through and add that from scratch, you can see on the page here, in fact, already got it added. So let's just edit the page, remove social squared. So we can do that quite simply. So that could go on the home page if you wanted it to, and we can go through and simply add that onto any modern web part page. Very, very straightforward. So this is a tech support team site. And so in here, in fact, let's just delete that forum group. So I could add a new forum group called SharePoint. So we can have one forum group for technical questions about SharePoint, and we could have another one for Teams. And if we go to the SharePoint forum group, I could now have on-prem, and also add one for online, and so on. So really straightforward to go through and define everything that we need as far as the forums and the forum groups and so on are concerned. And now we can republish that, and obviously we could change the colors from that awful red. It doesn't quite go with the bright pink logo and the blue at the top there, so we could go through and change it from that reason. So really, really straightforward to work with. And if we jump into Microsoft Teams now, a bit of background on this. Microsoft has recently, in fact, when I say recently, they were talking about this at Microsoft Build, the conference just a couple of weeks ago, and it's also going to be talked about at the Microsoft SharePoint conference North America in Las Vegas next week, which we will be at. So you can come and find us right by the Microsoft stand, and basically. This was announced at Ignite, something that was going to be coming last year, and it's now arrived under the SharePoint framework version 1.8. So 1.8 provides us with the ability to build a solution in SharePoint, but use that same solution inside of Microsoft Teams as well. So you can actually create packages that work purely with Teams, or you can create a single package that works with Teams and also SharePoint. And we've done this not just for Social Squared, but also for our Lightning Conductor product, which is the content aggregation tool, as well as the data viewer as well, which is a tool that you can use to display data and also build charts. So we can do that both in SharePoint and also Microsoft Teams now. So we'll take a look at it. If we just jump back to the site. So I have the Microsoft Teams open here in the browser. Of course, there's the client as well. And here's our tech support team, which is based on the site. And if you haven't yet used Microsoft Teams, it's really straightforward. When you first create a root site, and it has to be a root site or a modern site, you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner here the fact that you could also create a team for this particular site. or you can drive that from within inside Microsoft Teams as well. So I can click onto join or create a team, and as I create a team, I can actually create it from an existing Office 365 group, which of course is a site as well. So there's a number of my different sites in here that I can create a team for and bring those through. So inside the tech support team, which is linked to that tech support site, I can click onto add a tab here, and you'll see Social Squared is actually already added for me. I just need to add that tab onto there, and that'll just take a moment. So we can save the changes on this, and that will go through and create the tab for me. So we have the Conversations tab, which, like I said, is useful for a continual conversation. We've got the Files tab that comes by default with inside Microsoft Teams, and also a wiki, but you can also go through and add other tabs that might be Microsoft Forms or a particular document, Power BI, things like that. You can go through and add onto the site. But the benefit of this is, notice how this is already linked through to what we defined inside that SharePoint team site, and that works both ways. So now we are giving our audience the choice. They can either use Microsoft Teams or they can use SharePoint to collaborate. It's entirely up to them, whichever works better for them. So we just created these two forum groups a moment ago. You've got the same side panel, so you can refine this in exactly the same way. We can also go through and customize Social Squared in the same way that we did in SharePoint as well. So I can click onto the forum settings and go into the Microsoft Teams forum group, and if I go through and add a forum to that now, we will have team channels, discussion. Okay, so we can typos galore. There we go. So I've created a new forum in there, so we can close that down. And if we just go back into the team site and refresh the page here, there we go. You'll see that we've got that same forum now created. So those using the SharePoint team site can collaborate easily, and likewise, you're collaborating with people that might be on a different platform altogether and using the Microsoft Teams. So everything is effectively the same. You've got the drop down where you can launch the settings. We've also created an icon there for convenience as well. So you can launch the side panel configuration in a couple of different ways. Notice also if you customize the look and feel, so if we go back and apply a change in look, because that dark red is quite awful, I hope I don't offend anybody with that, but there are worse. We can go with this this color if we wanted to. So let's just stick with the blue. There we go. So I've created that as the blue, hit save, and now when we go to let's just click off that tab and back onto it again, you'll see that that same color bleeds through to Microsoft Teams as well. So it's giving that consistent look and feel throughout the two different platforms. So we can engage with this. We can go through and create topics. We can subscribe, and you've got exactly the same features both for Microsoft Teams as you do for SharePoint. Okay, and finally, we've also got a brand new mobile device app as well. So there was a app that you'll probably see today inside the App Store for Social Squared, and that was basically for the on-premises version of SharePoint. So that still exists for that purpose. This is actually a brand new app. It's separate. One thing to mention with Microsoft Teams, obviously you do have a Microsoft Teams app already, and that's a really powerful app. If you haven't used it already, go and add that onto your phone, and you'll be able to access all of your teams. You can access the chats, you can create meetings with it, you can join meetings with it. It's absolutely superb. But it doesn't show the custom tabs. So anything that is created as a client-side web part added as a tab inside your team won't display. So for that reason, we've actually created our own phone app around Microsoft Teams. So this is it in an Android device. We've got the same sort of thing as well for the iOS iPhone. It looks very, very similar. So you'll see the same forum groups appearing in there. You've got the same forums as well. You can see how many topics, how many posts are in each forum. And you've got those same views that are consistent with the web part. So you've got the popular topics, the recent activities, the tag cloud, and bits and pieces like that in there, as well as the ability to search the forums as well. So it's absolutely the same features with inside the phone app that you would get in either the client-side web part or the web part with inside Microsoft Teams. You have the same rich text editor experience as well. So as you create a post, there's some added features obviously. So you can actually go through and take a photo from your phone, and that will embed an image into your topic, and you can add tags and so on in the same way as well. Ratings, voting, likes, etc. All the same. You've got that same functionality. So that's basically the new version of Social Squared. And what I'm going to do now is just open up to see if there's any questions or any feedback that you want to provide on it. So what I'll do is obviously everybody is muted. So if you do have any questions, you can raise your hand. And once you raise your hand, I can unmute you and feel free to ask your question. I see we've got one already, so I'll unmute you in just a moment. I'll also just mention that if you wanted to experience this for yourself, you can actually go and download a trial of the product. So there is a link there, but if you go onto our website, lightningtools.com, you'll be able to find that easily. Just go to the product menu and you'll see the Social Squared client-side web part. We can also provide you access to the web part inside our tenant as well. So we have a demo tenant that you can use if you wanted to have a play around with it. And if you want to do that or receive a demo, then just arrange that with our sales team. So you can go to sales@lightningtools.com. So Christopher Evans, I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Christopher.
Great. Hi, how you doing? Just
Great,
one quick question. You demonstrated the search capability for the Social Squared environment. Is it easy to configure it so that it only searches the Social Squared? One of the things we run into a lot is when you start searching everything, it mixes it and takes you in and out of the experience. So I'd like to, when they're in that experience, keep them in that experience.
Absolutely, great question. So yeah, the search box within inside the Social Squared web part will only search Social Squared content. That's
Okay.
all that's doing. So yeah, you've got that as local search results if you like to the app. But yeah, if you went to Microsoft Search and searched for something, that might return documents, about 401
Yeah,
pages,
that'd be okay. Yeah,
along
absolutely.
with the Social Squared content. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Christopher. Okay, any other questions at all? I think that was the only raised hand that I'm seeing. No, it looks like that's it. So, okay, so I'll give you also my email address. So if you do think of a question that comes to mind later on, please email brett@lightningtools.com. So that's BRETT, brett@lightningtools.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions there. But otherwise, very much appreciate you joining the webinar today. I hope you found it useful, and yeah, hopefully, obviously the ultimate aim is perhaps you could use this product inside your own environments. So thank you very much for attending, and look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Thank you.